We're going to be looking at this pretty large assignment, and we are going to be using the database in MySQL. A download for this, it's in a totally different video that's not mine, but it'll be in the description below the like button. It is pretty long, so 2x speed and skipping through it, it's pretty straightforward to work with. So for this, we're just going to go through and we are going to add all of these inside of here. So these are basically making our query right here. Using SQL, create tables according to the given schema shown in our figure 1, which is this right here, the ER diagram shown in figure 3, and we must create the database using exactly the same names as case sensitive for tables and attributes using the given type. The type of each attribute is defined in figure 2, and we are required to specify the following constraints. We have domain constraints, entity integrity constraints, key constraints, and reference key constraints. So this is what we're going to be working with here. So let's look at this part right here, this part first. So we're going to start at the very beginning. First thing that we're going to do is create a database, and we're just going to call it test. So what I did, you can go to home, make a new connection, and you can just call the connection name, have your password and everything, you just put it in, and then you should have something like this. Now you're going to want to open your schema, and then open your tables right here. Something like world right here. Inside of tables, if we expand it, we're going to want to put inside of here, but that's just for an example. This one is going to be ours. So first we're going to create our database called test, and then we want to use this database. So we're going to use test. So we want to create a table branch. This is the first thing. We have a name and address. The primary key is name, so that's what it's going to look like right here. And then we have our name. It's variable char25 and address variable char50. Now these are just basically the size it needs to be. If it's a var before the char, it means it can have a varying size up to whatever we have inside of here. So this is it for our branch, and then we define it as a primary key, passing in the name, because the name is the primary key. We're going to do the same thing for customer. Notice how this one doesn't have a var in front of it. That means it has to be 9. Whatever goes in here has to be 9. Our primary key is our social security number, and we have our foreign key right here. We can see that it is given to us in the instructions, and this is our instructions right here. So screenshot it and work it out on your own. So we have our foreign key here. It references the branch name, and this is because it is a foreign key connecting to our branch name. If we scroll down to our diagram right here, we have our branch right here. It's going to be the branch like this, and then we are going to have our customer. So this customer has to go to the key, the primary key of our branch, which is what it's doing right here. Next, we have to make our account. So these are going to be all of the variables inside of here. We have our account, we have our decimal, and decimal, this is how many can be in front, and then how many is going to be displayed in the back. We have our account type, balance, and account number. This is just all the information that we are fed in right here. We have our primary key, which is account number, and that if we look at the account is down here, we just have account number by itself right here. Now we have owns. For owns, we have all of this right here, and then we have a foreign key, the social security number, our foreign key account number, and the primary key social security number and account number. So if we look at owns, the reason why it's its own entity, even though it's a relationship, is because it's a many-to-many. Whenever it's a many-to-many, we have to have its own table. So we have the social security number and account number. That's because it needs to relate to both things, primary key-wise. And that means that this social security number right here is going to reference to the customer's social security number. That's why we pass it in here. And the same thing for our account number right here. And then we have our primary key. So we have the social security number, and then we also have our account number being passed in. So we'll take these, and these are going to be the primary key here. And then we're going to do the same thing for our create table for the loan and the create table for our payment. It's basically the same thing, and then for our borrows. Next, we are going to insert information. Now this information we are just inserting based on our previous right here. So like if we have a char variable, it needs to have 9, and if it's a decimal, it needs to have some information in there as well. So we're putting into our branch, our customers, our values, into the account values. We have our owns, we have our loan. Now if they are related, like if we come up here and it's a reference, if it's a reference, this loan number has to be the same as this loan number. Otherwise, it's not going to know what to reference. So, and that comes up a couple times. So that's just important to keep in mind when you're writing everything out. Could be good to write it out on paper as well, kind of link everything together. Maybe print this out and write all your values in there as well. So we scroll down here and we're just inserting into, and what we're doing here is we're selecting everything from each of these specific parts, and then we're just printing them out. And from our delete, we're deleting from our payment when the payment number is equal to this. We could always change it to a different payment number because I have 2 inserts, I believe, for payment inside of here. Right here we have one, and right here we have the second one. So if we change that, we delete whatever one, and then we can update account. Remember, with the update we set balance, and then where the account number is this. This is just calling the variables and updating them. We're just printing again, and then dropping tables. Dropping tables drops everything. So we can see right now I have things inside of here. Now if to run this, I'm going to select all of this, and then I'm going to click this like lightning bolt right here, and then we can see if we are to, let's just not refresh it, we'll open our, well, we can't open a table because we don't have any tables anymore. That's what the drop does. We've dropped all of our tables, we don't have any. So what we want to do is we want to create our database test and use our test right here. So this should be created, or it already exists right here. So that's fine. What we need to do is make these tables. So we can highlight over all of the creates, and then we can click the lightning bolt, and this should create all of our tables. And it looks like all 7 of our tables got created successfully. And then when you're done with this, notice how I dropped everything, and then we can open the drop down menu. You can right click this and click refresh all. It'll fetch everything and show everything in here. Now our payment, if we look at it, is now going to be empty. So what we want to do to open this is right click it, and then we can click select rows, and we can see they're all null. Well, let's insert inside of here. And this looks like there is an error right here. It's not a valid position. I don't know if I accidentally put something in there, but that's okay because I ran it before I made that mistake. So we want to run our inserts now. So we want to highlight all of our inserts. We can do our selects too if we wanted to, and then just press the lightning bolt to run it. And from here, we are going to show our result grid. We have our form. We have all of these. I'm not exactly sure what these are, but it did come up because of our select, I'm pretty sure. But we can just minimize this from here, and let's look at each of these individual ones. So we have payment. Let's see if we close it, and then we do a select rows again. We can see that we have inside of our payment now. So if we delete and update, we just highlight this, run it, highlight this and run it, and it's going to delete and update accordingly. So that's going to be it for this assignment and how we would do it. The notes for this are in the description below the like button. More assignments and more examples are also in the playlist linked below the like button. And this is me running it in the local terminal that I have for my school using the school's VPN, but just very similar. Running through it, I've ran it multiple times. I think so. This is not really anything special, but this is what it would look like in a command window right here. And I believe SQL, if you install it, it has one that looks something like this. But this is what it would look like displayed here.